Let me get my finger off that. Hey, we're remote today.
As Aaron put it a little while ago, we're live on site today rather than in the studio. Then we had to disclose that studio means our kitchen table.
Yes. Well, what are you going to talk about today?
All right, guys, the topic of conversation tonight: how to throw a cast net. Also, drop me a comment. Can you hear me okay? I want to make sure the background noise isn't too bad out here. When we get started fishing, right? It's great to throw lures, and you go and you buy the NLBNs and you buy all the stuff, right? And that's great. But then sometimes you're ready to just catch fish, in which case it's time for live bait, right? And if you fish a lot, you're not going to go to the bait shop every day. It gets expensive. So learn to throw your cast net. This becomes very intimidating to a lot of guys when they first get started. I don't want you to be intimidated by it. It's super easy. I'm going to give you a few tips tonight that hopefully helps you to understand just how easy it really is. If I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yes.
And also, I'm going to tell you that there are several different techniques, right? 3 different techniques that I use personally for different size nets. Tonight, baby steps. Tonight is the cast net for the beginner, right? So it's the easy way to throw a cast net. And we're going to start with a pretty small net, as you can see here. This is what we call a 6-foot net, okay? So we're going to throw a 6-foot cast net the easy way. You ready? Let's go down to the water, guys, and talk about this for a minute.
Wait till you see how beautiful it is where we're at. This is a treat. If you don't live here, you get to see some pretty, pretty landscape.
Welcome to Longboat Key, and this
Yes.
is as close to paradise as you can get.
John Gannon says, "Sup, Will?
What's-
Had a blast fishing with you."
Hey, what's up, man?
Show me some tricks to use on my Hobie when I come back.
Sweet. Okay, guys. Step 1 on how to throw your cast net. John, I hope that new phone's treating you good. Sorry, got it. I've lost 2, bro. It's okay. Anyways,
Our last episode, we talked about how many things I've dropped in the water, so don't feel bad.
GoPros, all kinds of stuff. But anyway, step 1 to throwing a cast net is this big old long rope, right? We got to deal with this. And the way you're going to do that, it's got a loop. And there are guys that are going to talk to you about different ways. You got to cinch it down tight, right? I don't cinch it down tight. And the reason for that is because if something goes wrong with this net, I don't want it dragging me in the water. I accidentally throw it on a dolphin, because that happens. Sometimes you don't see him. He will drag your ass in the water, and we don't probably want that. So I just keep it loose, just like that. This is plenty. It's all you need. Then what we're going to do is we're going to coil this rope up. We're going to keep the coils roughly about 1 foot, right? Like that. You don't want big, long coils like this, because as you throw it, it'll get tangled around the bottom of the net. It won't work. So you want like 1 foot coils. So we're going to coil up the whole thing real quick, just like this. All right. The top of the net, this ring here, this is what we call the horn. You're going to grab the net by the horn, and you're going to hold it up just like this in your non-dominant hand. And I should have made that clear. You put that on your dominant hand, right, and coil it up in your dominant hand. I'm right-handed. Now with my left hand, I'm going to grab the net, I'm going to hold it up, and with my right hand, I'm going to reach down to about hip height, right? Roughly hip height. And I'm going to grab it. And then I'm going to drop the horn, and I want you to see I'm holding it with my thumb facing up, right? Not some weird, funky, contorted thumb up, guys. Super easy. Now, once you got it to here, let's check and make sure the net's not tangled. Let's make sure it's clear. You see all the lead on the lead line at the bottom. Let's just check and make sure all of that's clear. See, look, I've got a small tangle there. So we'll get that tangle out there. Now it's clear. Now we're going to take this, and we want to divide it up into halves. Sorry, I got a tangle again. All right, so we're going to take roughly half of this, and here's how we're going to do that. You just throw it back behind you, and there we go. Now I've got half the net in each hand, right? Half here, half here. Now, the part that's in my left hand, here's the juice. Pay attention. This is the trick. This is the secret. You're going to bring all of this, and I'm going to put it over my dominant hand, just like this. Watch. Curl it over, and boom. Do y'all see that? I'm still thumbs up, right? But look, now half the net's up here, and half the net's down here, right? Now we're going to grab it right on the front edge here, and we're going to bring this little piece up, and we're going to hook it under the thumb, just like that. You see it? Now, grab the front edge again, flip it to where the lead lines, see right now the lead lines are in front of the net, flip it to where the lead lines are in back, and you're loaded, you're ready to go. Now, as I throw this thing, it's a swinging motion, and as I release everything out of my right hand, I'm going to hold on to this with my thumb for about 1 second longer. And by holding this, it's going to force all this to open up, and we'll have us a nice round pancake. Let's go. Let's see if it works. Well, not a perfect pancake, but pretty dang close. Now, here's the next trick to catching your bait. Once it hits the bottom, don't yank it in real fast. You want to come like this, and you want to tug it shut. Oh, we got some baits in there. I can see them flashing. You want to tug it as it closes, just like this. Because, especially like if you get mullet in it, they're smart, and they'll go under that lead line if you pull it too fast. So, let's see if we got some bait here, shall we? We're going to drag it in. We're going to grab it by the horn. We're going to bring it up and drop the lead lines. We're going to shake them loose. And what's in here? Look at all the bait, guys. That's free bait. How long did that take me? These are, whoa,
Oh.
these are little greenbacks. Some people call them white bait or pilchers, and they are amazing bait. There's a, here, little friend.
What's the best way to keep this
Hold up, we got
Yeah,
some
there's
big
a
here.
bunch of baits.
Here, bud, watch this. Here, bud. No, you took too long. I'm gonna put these baits back in the water. We're not fishing. Guys, something bigger just moved right here. So I'm gonna move real quickly this time, but we're gonna do the same thing. Watch, coil the rope. Oh, there's still more in the net. The rope on this particular net's a bit long. That's something else I want to talk to you about, the type of net. We'll talk about that in just a minute.
Yes,
So,
this is actually live.
same deal. Grab it by the horn, make sure it's clear. We got a few baits left in there. Let's get them back in the water.
That bird's like,
Oh yeah, he's hammering it.
easy meal.
Same thing, gonna roll it up and over. Gonna hook that with my thumb, we're ready to go. Oh, everybody look away. That was an ugly throw. I got in too big of a hurry. Hang on. Hang on. That was a banana instead of a pancake. Usually what that means is that I had a tangle. See it? There it is, right there. Let me get that tangle out of there. That prevented it from opening properly. Don't forget, hold on with this guy just a tiny bit longer. There she goes. That's what we wanted. Yep, there's bait in there. So these little greenbacks, these are amazing baits. Everything out here eats a greenback. You want to catch a snook, you want to catch a redfish, you want to catch mackerel, you want to catch groupers, they'll all eat the greenbacks. Okay, now here's a different species. Let's show you a different one. This little guy here is called a pinfish. He's a his bird's over there eating. This pinfish,
He's beautiful.
he is beautiful. You got to be a little careful with them because, as their name implies, they will poke you with every part of their body, but they're amazing bait as well. Again, we're not fishing today, so let's get them back in the water.
They get big too. We catch them on our live shrimp and stuff.
Oh yeah, they'll get 12 inches long. Okay, so we can throw it again here in a few minutes. If y'all decide you would like us to, we'll be happy to do that. But the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is the type of net that you buy. Cast nets aren't cheap, but it's okay. You can buy cheap ones. Matter of fact, this is not an expensive net at all. This is a net from Amazon, and it works just fine. What I will tell you, stay away from the cheater nets, right? You're going to find some as you begin to look for them that say easy throw. And they have this like round disc up at the top, and you're supposed to somehow twist this thing up and throw it like a frisbee, and it some hocus pocus wizardry magically opens up the net into a pancake. It's a load of crap. Stay away from those. Get you a normal net like this one, and learn how to throw it. As I hope y'all see that the simple truth is, it's just not hard to do, and it doesn't even take that long to learn. It's not hard to do. So, anybody got any questions, comments? Oh yeah, it's full of bait again.
I have a question. How do you keep those alive once you catch them? What do you do with them?
Well, so that's going to depend on what we're doing. Like, sometimes I might come out to a place like this in the evening to catch bait for tomorrow. And if that's the case, we have, and I didn't even bring it with me, I didn't think about that. We've got an Engel cooler that you can, it's like a cooler with an aerator. Ours has a USB rechargeable aerator. You can put them in there, scoop up lots of fresh water from right where you're catching them, and bring them home, put them in the garage. You have no problem keeping them overnight. Now, the key is cold water. The colder the water, the more oxygen it'll hold. So what we do a lot of times once we get home, I always have in the freezer some plastic water bottles, just regular bottled water. Get a frozen one and just drop it in that cooler, and it'll drop the temperature of that water way down, and they'll live overnight, no problem. So that's if we're fishing the next day. If I'm catching them right now to go out and fish right now, then I'm going to use my bait shark or a float bucket. And I'm going to have that bait shark floating right out here, and as I'm catching them, just throwing them in it, and I can keep them alive in the bait shark all day long. The bait shark is awesome, guys, and hopefully sometime in the next week or two, we're going to do a talk on that thing. And the guy who invented it and the guy who runs the company is going to join us, and he's going to come and share his story of how he came up with that deal. And it's really a fascinating story. Turns out getting something manufactured all in America is not an easy task if you're a small dude wanting to make one product. So
with that bait that you just caught, what kind of fish do you expect to catch with those?
With pinfish and greenback, I can catch anything that we want to catch inshore. I can catch redfish, snook, trout. We can catch grouper. If we want to come out into the deeper water out here, we can catch Spanish mackerel on them. If we want to go out further, we can catch big grouper on them. We can catch king mackerel on them. You can catch just about anything. This is a fish that, unfortunately for them, those greenbacks, they live at the bottom of the food chain. Yeah. Everything eats them. So pretty much anything you put them in front of will eat them. So
I just want to show you, we got a guy out here that is wade fishing. And I'm going to span around. It's just so beautiful right here.
What you're seeing right now, this is a pass.
Yes, I'm going to show you where the Gulf of America.
There it is.
Right there. Really beautiful.
Why it says 1 pound fish. Very, very good. 1 pound fish.
I don't know why everyone keeps asking if it's live. It's live. It's not Memorex.
Look, it's not. Now you're showing your age. Check out this little snowy egret. How cool is he? He's hoping, guys, that we'll catch something and give it to him. And I would love to do that, but the reality is we're not supposed to do that. So we won't do that. We don't want him to become dependent on that. The sun's getting ready to set over this way, and it's going to be beautiful. Check it out. Show them the sunset.
It's going to be bright, guys. But it's so pretty.
So cool.
Okay.
Shall we throw the net one more time? Quick refresher for guys who maybe just tuned in.
I will say, when Will was first learning how to use a cast net, he watched a video over and over again, probably 10 times, just as slow as he could.
That's right.
Until he learned. So if you guys need to learn, you can watch this as many times as you want.
That's right, because the reality is there's a lot of little intricate details to it. And if you miss those little details, it won't open right. Just like you saw from me a minute ago, it didn't open, and that's why I missed a detail. So here we go. 1 foot coils, right? Very, very good. 1 foot coils. All right. Once we get all that coiled up in our dominant hand, just like that, now we're going to grab the horn with our left hand. With our right hand, we're going to come down. We're going to grab it about hip height, roughly. See there, about hip height. Drop that horn. Now, let's make sure it's clear, no tangles. We're good. Then we're going to take roughly half of that. Take that half, fold it right over, still thumbs up. Put that front line under your thumb, flip your weights behind the net, and let her rip, tater chip.
Nice. Looks like a pancake to me. By the way,
Anybody got any syrup?
we will link to the things that we'll discuss in case you would like to purchase what we use. After this live goes after we post it, we will link to such products: the bait shark, this net, and the cooler that he's talking about.
Yup, the Ingle cooler.
Oh, there's bait fish popping right there.
Goodness, that's something big was chasing them.
Yeah. Did you get any?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you got some.
I'm gonna show them that. I'm gonna throw one more time here. Because believe it or not, this is actually kind of fun for me.
Now, the net that he usually throws, he gets soaking wet. So beware, if the bigger the net, the more you get wet.
Yeah, this is true. So
It rhymes.
what she's referring to, guys, is that, remember, this is the simple way, the easy way to throw a cast net. And this works really good for smaller nets. This is a 6-footer. Works really well for nets up to 6 and sometimes even up to 8 feet, depending on the net. I have an 8-footer that you could never throw this way because it's way too heavy to throw it all out of one arm like that. So there are different techniques. One of those, it involves taking a third of it and putting it over your shoulder, which, for the first throws, fine. But once that thing's all wet, and as you can see here, it's got grass and oysters and stuff in it, and you're throwing that over your shoulder, you're going to get dirty. I didn't want to do that tonight, so we're just doing the small net tonight. We'll do those bigger nets and other techniques later.
Oh, you got a crab. Let's see if I can get him right at the end.
He gone.
Yeah.
Little baby blue crab. One more time over this way, just for funsies. And don't forget to tug it to close the net. Don't just yank it all at once. Tug it and let that bottom close up before you start pulling it in. Yep, there's some bait in it. Not much, but a couple. Also, something I should have told you about. We talked about different size nets, right? There's 3-foot nets, 4-foot, 6-foot, 8-foot, 10, 12, 14-foot nets. So that's one important thing about a net, but another important thing is the mesh size. Okay, so there are a lot of different size meshes for targeting different species or different scenarios. This one's a 3/8 inch mesh. So 6 foot, 3/8 is what this net is. That means the holes are 3/8 of an inch wide. So this net's great for stuff that size, right? For pinfish and greenbacks and little small finger mullet and things like that. Now, what this net does not work well for is if you have bigger fish. Let's say you're targeting bigger mullet, those 6 to 12 inch mullet. This net does not work good for them because it sinks too slow. And by the time it hits the water, they're smart, they see it and boom, they're gone. And it can't sink fast enough to get to them. Or if I'm throwing in deep water, it won't sink fast enough to get to anything before it escapes. So for those, you use a net that has a bigger opening and more weight on the lead line, and it'll sink a lot faster, boom, to catch those bigger fish. Sometimes folks even want the tiny little glass minnows. And for that, they make a net that's got a 1/4 inch opening. It's a really fine little mesh. It's called a bait net. And those, that works great for that. But again, the smaller the hole, the slower the sink rate. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay. What fish are biting right now inshore?
Inshore, right now, is still about the redfish and the snook. It's been about redfish and snook for the last few months. That's what it's been about. I am finding some pompano too now. Caught 2 really awesome pompano one morning last week. I went to fish for a couple hours on the beach before work and caught 2 stud pompano while snook fishing. So that was crazy. I was using a 3-inch paddle tail for snook and pompano bit it. I was surprised. But the pompano are showing up.
Are
So.
you still seeing sheep's head?
Not a lot of sheephead anymore. They are beginning to move on. We're
Okay.
still catching a few. Caught a big one actually here last weekend. Caught a 17, almost 18-inch sheep.
There's a video on that.
Yeah, there is a video on that on the channel. But we're not seeing the big numbers of sheep. You know, in January and February, you can come up to any of these docks that you see, and if you can, if you can be up looking down into the water, you'll see just numbers of sheephead under them, all chowing down on the barnacles, on the pylons of the dock. And we're not seeing them like that anymore. They're beginning to push on out there into the Gulf of America where they'll spend their summer. You guys have anything else you'd like to talk about? Any questions, comments?
I'm not seeing any more questions.
Okay, well.
So if you don't mind, let me turn this around so I can see you guys.
Here, let me flip it to you.
Okay. Well, here. There.
Huh.
And be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notified. We go live every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern. And we'd love for you to join us next Tuesday. We tried to talk about some sort of tackle that we're using, and we actually have tackle that we're going to talk about next Tuesday, and we'll let you know what that is.
And if there's something in particular you guys want to see, hey, tell me about this lure. Let us know. We'll go get one. We'll bring it out here. We'll give it a try, and then we'll talk about it. So.
Yep. All right, guys. Enjoy the palm trees in this little hut.
Welcome to paradise.
Yes. All right. Have a great night, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
And remember, your life is short. Get up off that couch. Get out there. Do something that makes your day great today. Don't let it pass you by, because at the end of it all, guys, if you don't go, you don't know. See ya!
Do I do that? I don't want to mess it up.